Hello, and welcome to Fae Finders, a dragon. Oh, wow. I can't even fucking do this.
A dragon!
Hey,
A dragon!
here at Fae
just a
Finders,
dragon.
we put dragons first here at Fae Finders.
We do. We're dragon
Yes.
advocators. We don't slay. We care.
It's sort of a
That
dragon-centric podcast. The dungeons are tangential.
the dungeons
Yes.
are in elements.
The Dundragon
Look, the
tangential to the dungeon.
The dungeons are subpar to the dragons, okay? We'll just leave it at that.
Fuck, I'm tired.
Yeah, same. Let's try this again. Hello,
Me too.
and welcome to Fae Finders. Oh, wow.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, wait. Hello and welcome to Fae Finders, the Dungeons & Dragons podcast navigating listeners into the vague and supernatural. My name is Sam and I'm going to be a player today, and playing with me is our wonderful DM, the best Kai ever.
Thanks, Sam.
The amazing Amnesia.
Hi, Sam.
The creative Caitlin.
Why, hello, Sam.
And the jubilant, joyous Jupiter.
Hi, Sam.
And let us return to Kai's phenomenal recap of campaign Amnesia, where we remember our past.
Most
We
cool.
do.
Let's see what we can remember. Good try, Sam. Good try.
I did my best. I've been awake since
Yes, you did.
5.
Now, let's see what we can remember.
Are you keeping that? Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, we're keeping that. That's fantastic. Look, I love this silly.
Me
So.
too. That was fun.
That was really fun. All right. Yeah, so quick recap. So after you guys had found your way to the capital city from Vestierg via teleport by our lovely Solene, you guys met with the king, sat down, had a wonderful banquet, which it had been a while ever since you had left Revalar Keep. From there, you guys had a few discussions, and the king invited Nia to the secret library behind the throne. From there, she decided that she was going to trust her father with the truth, and everyone was caught up with the fact that things were going to be a little bit different. From there, you guys did any kind of digging you could within the library with the permission of the king, and finding at least a little bit of information of what you were looking for, you headed to bed with a bit of satisfaction. Once asleep, Solene and Nia both had a dream, to which a version of Nia led them back down to the secret library behind the throne. And there, they were confronted with Eos, who gave them a choice as to whether or not they wanted to remember who they were or remember how they came to be. Choosing the former, they were gifted their memories back, or at least as much as Eos was able to give back. And from there, they woke up. And that is where we left you guys. So, Nia, you wake up with a start. But it's almost like a weight has been lifted from your shoulders. You kind of feel a little bit more lighter, a little bit more serene, kind of going through the memories that came rushing back to you. And for a moment, you just kind of lay in bed, staring up at the ceiling. And then you turn onto your side, kind of shifting in bed, and you realize that you're not alone. Standing in the room by the door is a very dark black figure. Tall, grotesque in shape, as though all the limbs have been exaggerated in a unnatural way. And these deep crimson red eyes stare back at you. It doesn't move, but it does sit there, and from its throat emits a low growl as it watches you. What do you do?
I sit there and stare at it for a moment, and then, keeping my eyes on it, kind of get out of bed on the opposite side of the bed from where it's at and see if it does anything.
It doesn't move, but its eyes do follow your movement.
I'm gonna reach out with my mind towards Solene, because she had opened up that mental connection between us, and just kind of shout her name at her in my mind.
Oh, I'm up and fucking running. I am in the door. I am like, jog, slam, like kick open the door, like really dramatic Cusco-like, and be like, what is it?
Okay, sounds good. So, Solene, you have just barely woken up from your combined dream with Nia here, and as you're kind of coming to realization as to the fact that you now have most of your memories back, you hear Nia's voice slam into your mind, and you bolt out of bed, waking Nisha up in the process, and just slam through the connecting door. And as you open the door, and Nia, you briefly look over just to see Solene come through the door. When you look back, the figure is gone.
Did I see it?
No, you did not.
Okay. Nia, what's wrong?
There was, a dark figure, like a shadow, glowing red eyes in here, just staring at me.
Is it still here?
No. I don't know where it went, but I looked over at you as you came through, and then it was gone.
What did the shadowy figure look like?
Just tall, dark figure. Just kind of grotesque looking.
Did it look like one of the fallen?
No.
Or perhaps did it look like one of those creatures that you saw when we were in Farron's dining hall back in the forest?
DM, was it that? It wasn't that, was it?
No, but it did look... While you didn't get a whole lot of detail to it, it did look very similar to the decaying figures you saw in the Black City that you had passed through when you first woke up.
I didn't get a lot of details, but it kind of looked like the figures that we saw in the city, in the mountain.
I think Baltog might be pushing us, getting ready for the solstice. I think it might be time to act a little bit faster than we have been. We should wake the others.
I think you're right.
Say that Nisha walks through the adjoining room and to the doorway and kind of leans on it.
Impeccable timing.
Celine, you shot out of bed louder than anything I think I've heard in a long time. What on earth was wrong?
Apologies, that would be my fault. I woke from a dream to a shadowy figure standing in my room staring at me.
As soon as Nia says that, Nisha perks up. Where was it?
I point over to the corner of the room where it was.
Nisha will make her way over to that corner and kind of inspect it to see if there's anything tangible there.
Sure. Make an investigation.
Can I assist with detect magic?
You can. It wouldn't necessarily be an assist per se, but detect magic would certainly help your own roll.
Yeah.
Not great, 12.
Okay, 12. Sam, if you want to throw up detect magic and then roll with advantage.
Yeah. I don't have that written down of how to do the thing. So it's D20 plus spellcasting modifier, which is... I don't know what my stuff is yet, because I didn't look. Okay.
No, it'd just be a investigation roll.
Oh,
it's
gotcha.
just the
And then
detect
just
magic.
Also detect magic. Gotcha. Okay,
Yes.
so that was with advantage though. So that was only 11, but never mind. 11.
11. Okay. Yeah, so as you guys are looking over this area that this figure supposedly was standing in, you do not pick up anything magical other than what you already know to be magic.
Mm-hmm.
And you do not find anything as far as a tangible indication that something was there or something could have been there or even how something would have gotten there.
Perhaps it was one of the dead, Nia.
Maybe. I didn't really...
That would have...
I mean, I just kind of called for you. I didn't really think to see if it could possibly be that.
Well, it would explain why there's no magical indication of perhaps a teleportation or something like that, and I can't find any physical evidence here. Anisha, did you find anything?
Unfortunately, nothing stands out to me about this space. It's almost like it evaporated.
I'll
But
go get
we should... Perfect. I was just about to say the same thing.
Oh, sorry.
Great minds.
Indeed. I will return promptly. And I'm gonna go and bang on Farron's door like, bip, bip, bip.
Farron jumps out of bed and scrambles for the door, pokes his head out and sees Celine.
I'm gonna put... Oh, sorry.
What's all the ruckus for? What's going on?
I'm gonna put my hand on Farron's shoulder and say, we need an emergency meeting.
I'm going to put my hand on Celine's shoulder and say, okay, give me 1 minute. I'll be right down. And I close the door and get all suited up in all my gear.
Okay. All right, so you guys all meeting in Nia's room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so all situated in Nia's room once everybody has collected their things. Is there anything specific that you are looking to do?
Well, you all have all your fragments. I think that it is vital that I get mine as promptly as possible so that we can start working on fixing the problems of the world. because it is getting very, very close to the solstice now, and I think that we must expedite our mission.
All of our fragments, but we still need Nia's as well.
Yeah.
Well, Nia, if you care to explain.
I've kind of had my fragment this whole time.
Oh.
Sorry, how'd you figure?
When I was chosen by Eos, I received my fragment. I had mine before our journey started.
Oh. Well, then, Celine's next it is. Any clues as to where to find your Celine?
I don't even know where I came from. And the only thing that I know and have surmised is that I have just always been at the palace. So I'm not sure if a past home would be necessary, or perhaps the tower, or perhaps the servants' quarters in the castle. I'm not quite sure where to look.
That's fair. But besides Nia's father, is there anyone in the immediate vicinity that we feel like we can trust to inquire after where you spent the most time? Was it this room in the palace, or was it your quarters back at the tower, so that we know where we should be looking?
Perhaps the tower, but also perhaps if this lady, whose name I absolutely know, who took me in and vouched for me in all of my endeavors, whom I can't seem to find in this documentation pie.
Sorry, that's my bad.
That's okay.
It is Lady Valet. Her actual name being Lilia Valet.
Perhaps an old mentor of mine, perhaps an old mentor of mine, Lilia, would maybe be able to shed some light.
Perfect. Any clues as to where we find this Lilia?
Not entirely. It's been a long time since I've seen her, but I'm sure she still works at the castle, so I'm sure that we could ask around.
It sounds good.
By the way, we got our memories back.
You just throw that in so casually.
Yes. Still processing.
Well, let us know if you need a hand with any of that processing. I mean, it's a tough experience. I can speak from experience.
Yes.
Did you
just to sift? Oh, sorry.
Did you remember anything imperative that might fill in any gaps for us as a whole?
Not particularly, because the only things that I can remember is just being by Nia's side and being her champion, and how I achieved that goal, and not much else, just kind of our shared history.
Oh, that's still very lovely.
Yes.
It's about the same for me. And also a confirmation of this whole thing being my decision and that no one forced me into it.
Well, it's good to know that is properly the case and not just what is being told to us.
Agreed.
It is good to know. Well, should we perhaps find Matilda? She might be able to assist us with finding Lilia.
Sounds good.
Oh, we can just
me.
ring the bell. I'm gonna ring the bell.
Okay, so you guys ring the bell, and it does take a little bit. It is still very early hours of the morning, but eventually you do hear a soft knock on the door.
I'll go answer it and say, "Welcome, Matilda. I have a question for you. Do you know where Lady Valet is?"
I Well, I would imagine, considering the time of morning it is, that she would probably be asleep at the Aosim Academy Tower.
Well, yes, of course. I realize it is quite early. Would you be able to, facilitate a correspondence and invite her to breakfast?
I'm sure that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Might be a little bit more of a brunch. I last recall that she had a morning class, but we could probably make something work.
Perhaps if
Perfect.
it helps with urgency, you can tell her the princess is requesting it.
Absolutely. I will make sure that she gets the message as soon as she awakes.
Thank you.
And she bows and kind of backs away a couple steps before turning in and heading down the hall back towards the servants' quarters.
I think we must dress for brunch.
Right. I guess we better get changed unless this is what everyone is wearing to brunch, in which case we can not.
Yeah, looks down at her pajamas and is like, I should probably put real clothing on.
Yes. And I'm going to take a bath and contemplate my existence. Farewell, friends.
All right. Meet you back here in, shortly. And I also head to my room.
All right. Nisha, what are you doing?
Nisha had sat down in a nearby chair after realizing they were out of immediate danger and had promptly fallen back to sleep. So she's just dozing in the corner of Nia's room at the moment.
Nia's not going to wake her. She's going to let her stay.
That's fair. All right. Sounds good. And Nia, what are you doing?
I'm going to go dig through the wardrobe, find some clothes.
Okay. Sounds good. So you all kind of break away, other than Nisha, who has fallen back asleep, to get ready. Are you guys actually taking a bath and going through the whole motion? Because if you want to do that, you're gonna have to wake a servant in order to come and fill the bath with hot water, and that's gonna take a little bit.
I would like to do, the basin. I want to freshen up. How there's the basin with the washcloth. I'm just gonna wash my face and kind of freshen up, kind of zhuzh my hair, make myself super presentable because I'm nervous.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So you focus in on that. Farron, are you just chilling or?
I'm going to, I kind of got together in a rush in case there was something that needed to be dealt with. So I'm going to take time to make sure I'm wearing fresh undies, clean clothes. I'll maybe get a nice cape with a nice brooch for the brunch, but I'm just making sure that I'm properly groomed and wearing clean clothing.
Okay, sounds good. And Nia, you're just looking for something to wear?
Yeah, probably just something similar to my travel outfit, but clean.
Okay, sounds good. So I would say by the time you guys go through everything and you freshen up, change clothes, make sure everything is in order. Probably takes you about an hour, hour and a half maximum. And by this time, you can see the startings of the sunrise, like where the sky starts to get a little bit lighter, and there's a couple clouds that have like that little bit of an underglow. But it is still pretty early in the morning, regardless.
When I'm done getting dressed and ready, I'll just go back to Nia's room and kind of do like a very soft knock, and kind of poke my head in.
Oh, Celine.
Hey, can I come in?
Of course.
Thank you. Well, no pressure, right?
It will be fine.
It's been a while and things are still quite hazy. Bit nervous about seeing Lilia again. But it will also be nice to sort of come back to my place.
Yes. I'm sure she will be welcoming.
Yes. You know, when you become queen, I shall be your royal advisor and sorceress.
I would be very honored to have you at my side.
And we're going to make some big changes in this kingdom because, first of all, I think we all deserve books.
I would agree.
And you're going to be a phenomenal queen.
Nia kind of looks down, a little bit of sadness in her face, and says, I hope that I would be.
You will. We'll make it. You're too strong to go down that easy.
I hope so.
No hope needed. Is Nisha still sleeping?
She opened her eyes when you knocked on the door, and just seeing that you guys were having your own conversation, she's just closed her eyes and is just letting you guys have a conversation without interjecting herself.
Should we wake everyone up and start getting ourselves ready for brunch?
You're right, I should hold myself out of the chair. Give me a moment. All right. Big stretch. Brunch, you say?
Yes, with many mimosas.
Just a coffee first would be spectacular.
And coffee. And tea. And pastries. And luxury. We're back at the castle.
We should go grab Farron then and make our way down.
Okay. So, you guys head across the way, knock on Theron's door.
Indeed.
Just give me 1 minute, and Farron comes up to the door, dressed in very nice clothes and with a green cape thrown over his back, and he has either a brass brooch with a red gem inset or a silver brooch with a blue gem inset, and he's fussing with both of them. And which one do y'all think is nicer?
The blue one. It goes with your eyes and my skirt.
All those opposed?
I like the blue as well.
All right, and then Farron puts in the silver and the blue one, and takes the brass and red one and just kind of hucks it back in the general direction of the bed and closes the door behind them.
All right. So, you guys are you guys making like your way down to the banquet hall, or are you exploring the castle? Like, it's barely even dawn.
Do me and Nia remember enough of the castle that exploring would, like, be super easy?
Oh, yeah.
Shall we give you a tour?
Yeah, should we? Yes, I was just about to say the same.
Nia just has like a big smile on her face and is looking between Farron and Nisha.
Absolutely, my dear. Lead the way. Show us your home.
I think we should start in the gardens. And she heads towards the big hall that leads to the throne room to get to that door that takes out to the gardens.
And we can show you our secret spot where we used to gossip about all the other nobles.
All right, perfect. So you guys leading the way, the two of you, you lead them down back through the halls and out the door that the king had initially led you, Nia, which you, of course, later remember passing through 1,000,001 times in order to spend as much time as possible in those gardens. And it's almost a different kind of feeling stepping out as the sun starts to peek out from behind the horizon. You're so used to seeing these gardens like either during the day or closer towards the evening, never particularly early enough in the morning or late enough in the night in order to see this different color wash to the many different plants and flowers that bloom here. So even though like you remember vividly this garden, it almost feels like you're walking through it again for the first time. And you kind of point out, like certain areas of the castle, like, oh, that's the hall that you used to chase Celine down, or vice versa, with, either toy swords or on like rolly horses that were made by the carpenter when you guys were little. And then you kind of go towards the eastern side, which has this tall spiraling tower, and you're like, that one's a little bit weird because that's we don't go there. That's off bounds because they keep the guards there, and we don't bother the guards because they're stuck up and guards think they better than everyone else, basically. So, and then as the two of you lead them around the around the garden back towards the opposite end of the castle, you come across the very intricate fountain that is ever flowing with this crystal clear kind of light blue water. And you kind of stop for a moment and just listen to the water splash as the birds start to pick up their morning song. And it feels like all of this is just a far off memory again. Like you're back home, everything is normal, there's no end of the world, there's no Baltog, there's no fragments, it's just home.
Nia, do you remember when we went swimming in this fountain and your father was absolutely appalled?
Yeah. Though I don't know why he'd be surprised. We were always getting into so much trouble.
Very true. I'm going to do a little like magic splash onto Nia's hand, just isolating so that it doesn't go all over the place, but just like kind of like with a few droplets.
Hey.
All right. Moving on from here, you guys head back into the castle and you kind of take them to the West Wing, which is more almost like a gallery. Here you have quite a bit of paintings of the old kings. You can see like gold placards underneath each of the paintings that state who each king was, as well as the time that they ruled. And you also do come across, quite a few different sets of the armor that a lot of the guards wore over the times. If there is no particular full set, there's at least pieces of it. And you can see kind of the progression of the way that the city has evolved over time, between even as far back as the Purge itself up until today. And then as you continue down, you come across this dark doorway, and you vaguely remember it as being a place that you weren't really supposed to go, but it was never expressly said to you that it was off limits. But you're not 100% sure if you remember exactly what's behind that door, or if you even opened that door to begin with.
I kind of gravitate slowly towards the door.
Okay. Are you just opening it, or
can I sense anything from behind the door?
Yes and no. You can definitely sense that there is not particularly an evil aura behind the door, but at least something magical, maybe a little unsettling. It's kind of hard to put your finger on.
Should we open the door?
I think we should.
You guys have explored all over the place in this castle, and you don't know it's behind this creepy door.
I can remember the door. Not necessarily a place I was forbidden to go, but I can't remember ever entering it, and I feel like I should now.
Oh, I think so. We've got time to kill before brunch. Why not go somewhere you've never been before?
That's true. And I put my hand on the door to open it.
Okay. So, as you push open this door, it is locked, but it's not magically locked. So you are able to open it quite easily, with just a little bit of finagling with the handle. Not anything super intricate or even secure. It's more so just to keep anyone from accidentally wandering into this place. But as you open it up, it's immediately very dark, and you can see a couple glints of light being reflected here and there throughout the room, from the little bit of light that is shining in through the doorway, but nothing it's definitely not a place that is naturally lit.
I would like to cast dancing lights.
Okay. You cast dancing lights, and these 4 little small globes of light, slightly tinted green in nature, float up. And as it kind of fills the immediate vicinity of this room, you notice a couple jars, a couple glass cases. A lot of this is very old items. You see a couple swords that are in the glass cases. You see a couple jars that hold either a there's a preserved spider. You also see a jar with a liquid that holds a pair of eyes. You also do see quite a bit of older tomes that are held underneath like glass cases that are open to a specific page or just closed altogether. Some of them even have like wax melted over top of it, and purposely look as though they've been sealed shut.
Can I go read the open pages? Not out loud. Very much just in my head. What the tome says.
Yeah, you can walk up to it, and as you peer down through the glass, it is quite dusty, but it still is enough in order to at least make out the characters that are written in this book. You quickly realize that it is a language you do not know.
I'll approach and try to read the book.
Okay. You approach, and for a moment, you can't read it. And then as you focus in on it, the words start to become clear. From what you gather, it looks like it is an old spell, particularly there's one that speaks of the power to be able to kill in an instant. There is one that speaks of the power to be able to stun in an instant. And there's also one that speaks of being able to teleport anywhere in the world.
What does it say?
Old spells. Something to kill in an instant, to stun in an instant, or to be able to teleport anywhere in the world.
Tell me that one. That would be so easy for us. The most convenient thing in the world.
Which room is this?
I don't know. Does it feel familiar to me? Does it feel like mine? I don't know. Let me ponder.
No.
Okay.
This is also a room that you haven't been in.
Well, it doesn't feel like anywhere that we've been, or that I recognize, but I would like to study this book, because actually, having something to kill in an instant wouldn't be the worst thing if we do come up against Beltog. Maybe this is fate giving us an opportunity to have something at our disposal. Neither of us has ever found this room before, so it only stands to reason that we found it so that we could use it.
Perhaps. But also, why is this all here and not in the library?
That's the part that makes me uncomfortable, if I'm honest.
Perhaps there's a reason that they don't want this to be knowledge.
Or perhaps it's a room that only appears to you when you have a great need.
Perhaps, but then what's with the jars of eyeballs? What do we need those for?
Or these
sometimes spells take components.
Or these books that are sealed
you lose an eye
with wax.
Well, I wouldn't suggest opening the ones that could be cursed and sealed, but one that's already open and displaying some very important information. Why wouldn't we want to utilize everything at our disposal? We don't have to unless we really have to, except for this teleporting one, because I think that is invaluable. But in terms of the stunning and the death, we can save that just in case we need it for Beltog.
Now, Celine, and I don't mean to sound pedantic here, but a book don't necessarily need to be sealed to be cursed, right? Any of these books could be cursed. I mean, we may as well open the sealed one. They're just as likely to be cursed as the open ones.
What if these spells have a cost?
That's why there's all these jars, because those are the components, correct?
A cost that you don't know of.
Well, I mean, if you can read these spells, you can tell me what the components are.
I don't know that it would be wise for any of us to have a spell that would be able to kill someone instantly.
No, but I still like the teleporting one. That's basically the one I'm advocating for the most.
DM, is there like a list of components and like what you need for that one?
Nope.
It's just an invocation.
It's just an instantaneous verbal spell.
Perhaps we should keep just that one, because what if we're in a horrible bind and all of us need to make a great escape? To teleport anywhere in the world?
But unpracticed, how do we know we remain intact when we get to our destination?
Well, I can research.
For a spell that's hidden away in a room we've never been in before, despite the fact that I've lived here my whole life, I think the teleportation spell that you have is enough. There's something about this room that makes me think it would be unwise to use any spells in these books.
I suppose, but why were we brought here then? If it's not fate, fate has decreed much in my life, Nia. I think it would be ill-advised not to challenge the option.
Yes, but it's not the first time I've seen this door, it's just the first time I've decided to come in. I don't think it's fate.
Well, it's fate that we decided to come in today. Especially when we're just about to go face an evil god, an immortal being.
While Celine says that Nisha's gonna start, like, perusing the shelves and, like, without touching anything, look to see if she can see anything that might give away who this room belongs to, or evidence of who was in here with these spell books.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, of course. While Celine was speaking with Nia about this room being fated, Nisha would take a moment to, like, scan the shelves and look at the tabletops without touching anything and just see if there's any evidence as to, like, who this room belongs to or who was researching in here, what this space is.
Okay. Just make a perception check.
Okay. 18.
18. Okay. So as you're kind of looking through, the first thing you notice is that this room hasn't been touched in a very long time. There is quite a bit of dust everywhere, and nothing in particular looks to be disturbed. It almost, the way that the room is set up, it almost seems like it is more so to be like a trophy room, rather than like a research room or anything along those lines. You almost kind of get the sense that these objects are a little bit more perhaps dangerous in nature, but also still not as dangerous as other things that could potentially have been kept in the secret library.
This room hasn't been occupied in quite some time. And it's not laid out as if it were someone's study. Nia, is this a room you think we should ask your father about? It feels dangerous, but perhaps not eminently hazardous.
We could. I assume that he would know at least something about it.
I am of the mind that no magic is actually dangerous. It's the person who chooses to use it. Like any weapon, a sword can be used to kill or it can be used to defend. Magic can be used to defend as well. It depends on the individual casting.
I don't think it's wise to use any of these spells. I'm not going to copy it down.
Well, how about we talk to your father first?
And if we change our minds, we at least know where it is.
Yes.
Right, so we should just go up to the king and say, hey, we found this book. It's got a spell that can kill anyone instantly, and what do you know about it?
I think perhaps just asking about the room in general may be a better idea.
We could just approach it as, Your Majesty, we stumbled into your dangerous trophy room. Anything in there you're particularly proud of? Something that might aid us in battle?
I think that is wise.
Right, but
to frame it like that.
So y'all think that there would be a king who has access to a spell that could kill anyone and he wouldn't be using it? I don't know that Nia's father knows this room exists, or at least what's in it, the extent of what's in it.
Nia, do you know what language this is in?
Could I tell what language it was?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me double check. 'Cause I don't know if it lets you read any form of language.
Yeah. But it doesn't say anything about whether I recognize what the language is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not common, celestial, or sylvan. So we can rule that out.
I will say make an insight check.
So natural 18 plus 7, so 25.
25. Okay. I will say with that, you are able to kind of surmise that this is perhaps what you remember to be called the Old Tongue. It is the original language of Jatilu, in which the common tongue was derived from.
It appears to be in the Old Tongue, what our current language is derived from, but older.
I see. That pushes me to think even more so that perhaps these spells were crafted in order to fight the gods.
I'm still not copying the spell down. I don't feel comfortable doing it.
Not asking you to. I'm just stating my opinion and what I've observed. If our history is so fraught with wars of very, very powerful entities, I think we might need everything in our arsenal that we can get. But again, I concede that we will talk to your father first. After brunch, obviously.
All right. So are you guys heading out, or are you guys kind of looking around a little bit more?
Can I look around for anything that looks like a jar that could hold a very powerful deity? Sort of like a genie lamp. But for a much meaner thing. This is no Robin Williams we're looking at here.
Sure. Make an investigation check or perception check.
I'm gonna do... both of them are the same. It doesn't matter. That is 16.
16. Okay. You take a look around. You don't see anything, at least nothing that isn't already in use. So there's no empty jars, there's no like empty bottles or lamps or anything of the sort.
I had to try.
Of course. But yes, everything in this room is being used to contain something in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Before we leave, Celine, just for the heck of it, because we're surrounded by so much magic and you are a magic user, maybe meditate and see if anything feels fragmenty in this room.
That's a good point. I shall.
Okay. Just you know what? Roll an Arcana check.
I shall do exactly that. That is a 16 plus 5, 21.
21. Okay.
Yeah.
So you sit and you kind of focus in on it. You particularly start with Nia's fragment, which you're already familiar with, and you kind of focus in on its feeling. And then you expand that out, kind of looking for anything else of the sort that would be similar or along those lines. And you do pick up Nisha's sword, and you do pick up something faint on Farron. But other than that, you don't really get anything. And as you're trying to expand that feeling or that focus further, you realize that you should actually be looking a lot closer. And your mind kind of wanders to the dagger that is strapped to your leg.
I'm going to, still with my eyes closed in this like meditative state, kind of move my dress aside and take out the dagger and hold it in front of myself in both hands and just kind of meditate even harder, focusing in on this object.
Okay. You pull the dagger out and you focus in on it, and for a moment you swear you can feel that exact same energy as you do from Nia's tome or Nisha's sword. But then it slips away and you're not 100% sure anymore.
Does it slip away in like a tangible, it's going somewhere that I could follow? Or is it like it just fades?
You know what? I'll let you continue with the 21. So kind of holding focus in on it, it does almost fade in a direction that is followable.
Okay, I am going to stay in this meditative state, not even like talking to anybody because I just trust. I'm just gonna like follow it. I'm just gonna start walking.
Okay. So you follow this feeling wherever this kind of wherever this kind of aura is leading you, and stepping out of the room, you follow it back down through the gallery towards the throne room and out into the garden. And it is there that you are forced to stop as you run into some of the plants. And as you are kind of forced out of this trance, you realize that the feeling that led you here was continuing on towards where you remember coming from, the AOSIM Academy.
Okay. I am going to, I don't know if anybody followed me, but I'm going to turn around dramatically and say, we must go back to my academy.
What about brunch?
Nisha, who is trailing like a few feet behind, almost runs into Celine and goes, the academy.
Yes.
Okay. So no brunch. We should go.
Yes, and we'll send lilacs and a apology card.
I suppose the solstice waits for no brunch.
We can have brunch later. The mimosas will still be here when we get back.
I mean,
If we come back.
That's pretty optimistic. Yeah, I'm with Nisha on this one.
We're going to come back. There's always time for a good mango samosa. That's not what I meant.
You know,
A mango mimosa.
You know, Celine, I will be sure to tell that to Death when I meet them.
Good. There's always time for a mango mimosa.
I'm demanding
All right.
samosas on my way out.
Good. We both have our priorities in check. I'm glad. We must call
Okay,
the
so
carriage. Oh, no, let's
you
just
guys
teleport.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you guys would remember that it did take you the better part of a day in order to get from the AOSIM Academy to the capital city here.
Yes, so I'm going to find a stick and start drawing on the floor and prepare to go to the tower.
Okay. Sounds good. So, as you prepare the teleportation circle right here in the King's Garden, you spend the 10 minutes it takes in order to prepare such a thing. And once again, as you've become familiar with, as you finish connecting the sigils within, the runes on the ground light up a soft green. And you guys are whisked away back to the tower within the AOSIM Academy. This time, however, instead of being alone when you arrive, there is actually a guard that bursts through the door the instant that your feet kind of find footing here. Well, what's all this now? Oh, Lady Milliot, my apologies. Please, I meant no offense. I didn't
No.
realize you would be returning.
No offense taken. I must go now. Please excuse us. We are on a mission. And I'm just gonna go. I'm still clinging to that feeling as much as possible and following to where probably start in my old study room and kind of go from there. Where I first was learning magic.
Okay. So you see him kind of get a little flustered, and he kind of stands at attention and right, yes. And watches you guys go. And as you step out of the tower and back down into the large area that holds the gardens in between each kind of section of the academy, you try to focus in on that feeling again, and it takes you a second, but you quickly realize that it's actually not coming from within the walls of the academy itself, but just slightly beyond the walls. And as you follow it out the front gate of this academy into what you now remember to be the area that's called the Fish Gardens, as it's got a very large pond filled with beautiful colored koi. You find yourself standing at the edge of this pond, looking down into the still waters, watching as a handful, a number of koi kind of swim beneath its surface, all kind of curling around each other as they pass by. And you watch your reflection for a moment. And you know all too well that maybe it's not your reflection. And you kind of lean down towards it. And as you do, your reflection reaches up out of the water and pulls you in. But you do not hit water. Instead, you find yourself kind of almost floating. Yeah, so you find yourself kind of like this floating feeling in darkness. There's nothing really around you per se that you immediately see. It's just kind of this darkness that you're used to kind of finding yourself sitting in as either, your dreamscape shifts or as that reflection of yourself always appears. But this time, there's no one else. There's no copy of you waiting there. And there's no image of Nia. There's nothing. It's just this big expanse of darkness.
Hello? Soline 2.0? Can I, swim? Float? Can I try to move forward?
You try to will yourself forward and you find that you're kind of stuck in place. Like there's not really anywhere to go.
Well, this is taxing. Can I try to use Dimension Door to pop myself back out of the pond?
Nope. You are stuck. There is, you actually do not feel like you have access to any of your magic here.
Well, this is disturbing.
For clarity on our side, does it just look like Celine is staring at her reflection, or do we physically see her disappear?
Nope. You actually, as far as you guys are concerned, she is just knelt down staring at her reflection in this pond.
Without wanting to disturb her, knowing that she's meditating, Nisha would walk really quietly up behind Celine and stand slightly to her left and kind of look into the pond as well, just to see what she's so intently staring at.
Okay. As far as you can tell, all that is there is her reflection and the koi swimming underneath the surface.
Nisha would then turn around and face Nia and Farron and just kind of give a little shrug.
Well, I would like to go through my fragment trial now. Varuna, may we converse?
Who are you to call and need a god at will?
I do not mean to disrespect you. I just wasn't sure what else I was supposed to do.
All in good time, my dear.
All right. Shall I sit here and float for a little bit longer, contemplating my existence? I genuinely ask.
No.
I do not mean to mock you.
No, it is all right. I think you have waited long enough.
And before you appears this giant moon, so close that it encompasses your entire vision. And then a speck appears in the middle of this moon, and as it grows bigger, as though coming towards you, you start to realize it has features. Long, flowing white hair billows behind it as this dark-skinned woman with
white glyphs tattooed into her skin, and almost like a white linen toga, or like a silk, more of a silk chiffon kind of style fabric, steps before you. And as she opens her eyes, you realize that she has no pupils or irises at all. She just has whites for eyes. It is a little unsettling, but also very beautiful against the dark skin. And she gives you a soft smile.
Why,
Soline.
Veruna, you are lovely.
I have heard that to many, but I thank you. Now, tell me, why should I give you your fragment?
Well, the obvious answer would be so that I can attempt to save the world and rescue Nia and stop Baltog from being able to continue the cycle of hatred and war and death. And I feel like that would be sufficient for some, but I guarantee it's not sufficient enough for you. So I think that you should give me my fragment, because I will do everything in my power to use it well.
That is why I like you. But let me make a few things clear. The world can still be saved, and Baltog can still remain sealed, even without the fragment. The only difference is when it comes to your princess. And quite frankly, Eos is the only one who really would rather see this, well, what she started stop. It quite frankly has nothing to do with the rest of us. But we agreed that when the time came, and if the people chosen were right, we would lend our assistance. So, I ask again. Why should I give it to you?
Because I think that you are lying to me just there. I don't believe that you don't care about the good of the world. If you didn't, you wouldn't have given me my mark. You wouldn't have allowed me to share in your powers of the moon. You wouldn't have marked me with my streak of silver. You wouldn't have done anything. I think that you do care, and I think that you see how much I care. With the utmost respect, I think you're bullshitting me. And I think that you know that I know that. I'm going to save the world, and I'm going to save my princess. And you're going to help me. And she says that just with the biggest, toothiest, genuinest smile that she could possibly have, because she just loves and trusts in this moon goddess, and she knows how much that Veruna knows that she cares about Nia. I'm not going to take no for an answer, Veruna. We're going to do this together.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
Okay. Okay. At least it's +9, so I can't really do that badly. Actually, I shouldn't have said that. Okay. 15 + 9 is the higher one.
Okay, 24. She looks at you, returning that grin. I see that Eos didn't give you back everything. A shame. But I also imagine that her powers are waning, at the very least.
Would you deign to give me more of my memories?
What memories do you seek?
The one where I know who that other self is.
That is not so much a memory. She is not even really a being. More of a shadow of yourself, a part of your consciousness. Maybe perhaps the true self that you try to keep locked away. Or at least some would say.
Then perhaps a better understanding of who she is and how I am related with this other personality. If that is my true self, then I think I should know who that really is. Who I really am.
All right. But if I tell you, then you must share whatever you learn with the rest of your party. Even if you don't like it, and even if you're afraid of it.
I swear so to do. A word once given.
Then it is done. And she reaches out and places the palm of her hand against your forehead. And for a moment, it burns, a bright white pain. And then as quickly as that moment comes, it's gone, and more memories flood back to you. You remember pieces of a desert city, pieces of ruins that you had walked into with your parents holding you in their arms. And you remember that your mother touched something, and then there was a bright flash, and then for the longest time there's nothing. And then you were on a carriage going towards the capital city, and then you remember the princess, and that's where everything changed. And even from a young child, you had always kind of had this voice speaking to you as though trying to push you in a certain direction, trying to push you back towards the ruins, or at least take the princess with you back towards these ruins. And when you were marked by Varuna, when you set out on your journey, that voice disappeared, as though satisfied. And it wasn't until you woke up again that voice came back, and you realized that voice was trying to push you back towards the Black City in the mountains. And then you remember why you were even there to begin with. Nia had led all of you, telling you that you were on some grand adventure and that you were going to save the world, and all you had to do was make an offering towards the seal in order to keep it in place. Though she never gave specifics, none of you knew that she was going to sacrifice herself in order to hold back this Demon King. Until the very last second, Solene, you figured it out. As the Demon King made his presence known and started taunting all of you, you figured it out and you went to stop her. And that's when the Demon King lashed out, and Nia threw up a shield that protected all of you, but the blast between her magic and the Demon King's knocked you all unconscious. And that's when you woke up. And as you regained consciousness and pull away from the water's surface of the pond, you blink, and in your hands is your dagger, slightly glowing, and you're back in the Aosim, or just outside the Aosim Academy, with the rest of your party surrounding you.
I am just going to look at Nia with such hurt eyes.
So, what is it?
I got more memories back.
And
she's just like really glaring at Nia, like just so hurt.
And Celine, did you get your fragment?
Yes, I did.
And these memories, Will they help us?
Not quite.
How do you mean, not quite?
Nia lied to us. Nia was the one who made us lose our memories because she took us to the Black City so that she could sacrifice herself, but she didn't tell us. And perhaps that seems trivial now because we all know that this is her intention. But she fabricated a story so that we would go with her to help her die. And I wouldn't let her. And so when Baltog lashed out, and Nia protected us with a shield, the rebound of that spell created a blast that made us lose our memories. But Nia, the fact that you lied after everything that we had been through together, the fact that you think that I wouldn't have supported you, that I wouldn't have protected you and taken care of you, that I wouldn't have ultimately respected your decision like I had with everything for our entire lives.
Understand you're hurt, Celine. And I understand you're offended. And there is so much more room for those feelings and so many more discussions. But unfortunately, they're going to have to wait.
I'm aware. It's not just that, though. I made a promise to get my fragment that I would tell you all about everything that I learned, and I intend to keep that promise. So, when I was very little, I came from Desert City. My parents took me to some ruins, and my mother touched something, and then I had this voice in my head that was leading me to Nia. And I don't really know what that voice was, but it was pushing me to Nia, and that voice was pushing me to the Black City. I don't know what it was. But regardless, I never stopped protecting Nia. And I battled with myself a lot for that. Anyways, we have all the fragments. We might as well start making our way back so that we may finish this and move on with our lives. And Celine's just gonna start kind of like walking out of the pond garden.
So that's it. Celine couldn't let Nia die. So we had to get all of our memories back so we could go do it again.
It appears so.
Right. Well, Nia, it's sure been a hell of a ride, but let's get you to your death, I guess.
Or prevent it. I don't think we should all be so pessimistic right off the get-go.
Right, but what's different this time as opposed to the last?
We're going in swinging. Last time we were there under false pretenses, letting Nia choose her own path, which is her right. But now we are going to stand there united with the fragments. I'm not saying it's a done deal, but it's a heck of a lot more than we had before.
Well, Nia, what do you want? Do you want what you wanted for, which is for us to just be there with you when you go, or do you want us to stand and fight? It's your call.
As I've said before, I don't mind trying a different method. But when it comes down to it, if it is me or the world, I choose for the world to survive. I understand Celine's hurt, but look how hard she's fought with no memories to keep me alive. That's the only reason I could think why I would have hit it, is because she probably wouldn't even have gone if she knew.
Tied you up in the castle and not let you gone either, if I'm honest.
Yeah. if we're leaving from here, I need to find some parchment and want to write a letter to my father before we go. I don't think we're going to have time to make it back to the castle.
Unfortunately not, no.
And Nia will take a deep breath and head back towards the academy.
Okay. So, you guys make your way back into the walls of the academy as the sun starts to rise over the mountain here, now fully moved into morning from dawn. And as the light kind of washes over the surface here, slightly obscured by a few small clouds here and there, you see a figure come out. Elven in race, long, beautiful kind of mousy brown hair that's sleek straight behind her. Simple yet elegant silk robes and a little bit of an aura that exudes importance or someone of a high order. Soline, I thought I was meeting you at the castle. What are you doing here?
My greatest and deepest apologies, Lilia. Something had come up, and I was disposed. I would very much like to catch up with you, though.
Of course. Why don't we head to my study? We can talk there.
I would appreciate that, yes.
Great. And she leads you to the west wing towards the Ivy Gate quarters. From there, she leads you through the building and into the study hall, as to which there's a few classrooms that have already started to gather some students. And she takes you into one and past it into a smaller room and sits down at the desk that is there and motions for you to sit with her. You'll have to excuse me. I do have a class in about half an hour's time, but I hope that is enough. I understand it's urgent.
Yes, well, it was urgent, and then I sort of figured it out myself. Well, you see, have you heard of the fragments of light and darkness?
Yes, I know well of the tale.
Yes. Well, we have all found the fragments of light, and now we're trying to break the cycle of Beltog's return. And I hadn't remembered where I would have been able to find mine, and I wanted to utilize your knowledge of our relationship and what would have been a particularly significant spot for me to procure my fragment. And now I'm just very upset.
I see. Well, is there anything that I can do for you then?
Lilia, I don't want to repeat the past. But you are my greatest mentor, and I need your confidence. If you were faced with a position where you had to lose someone you loved very greatly, or saving the world, what would you do?
You see her fold her hands and kind of take a bit of a lean back in her chair.
Well, that certainly is a difficult question. More of a dilemma, really, than a question itself. But ultimately, I do think that the fate of many outweighs the fate of one.
I know you're right, but I'm not happy about it.
None of us are happy with the outcome of fate, child.
I'll do my best to rewrite fate.
Many have tried. Few have succeeded. But I do think that if anyone were to be able to do so in this time, well, perhaps you. You were, of course, chosen by Varuna. And that right there in itself is quite a feat.
I will not let us down. Thank you,
I know
Livia.
you won't.
Thank you for all
Of course,
that you've
dear.
done. And I intend to succeed in this mission. I'll see you for mimosas when I get home.
I look forward to it.
I'm going to go find my companions again and say, shall I teleport us back to Newport Killam?
I think that's our best shot.
Right. Nia, would you like to go say goodbye to your father?
I'm just gonna write a letter.
Good.
I'm sorry, I can't get over the fact that Celine turned to essentially like a former professor or something and said, so you know the fragments of light and darkness, you know those things that are like foundational to the world and the cosmos. Well, we found them, and anyways, if one of your friends had to die, and like either they die or the world's gonna end, like what would you do?
Just so casual about it.
Yeah.
She's like my mother mentor since I got here. She's taken care of me. So, like, I don't know. I probably killed my own parents.
I suppose, as a mother figure, yeah, it makes more sense. But I was picturing it as like your teacher or God forbid your coworker. You're like, hey, anyways, I found the fragments of light and darkness, and I don't know what to do with
They're
it.
like leaning over and like, do I need to call someone to put this person in a mental institution?
No. She was like the person who took me in
Okay.
because I had a blackout period. I probably killed my parents. I'm convinced that it was Baltog's voice trying to lead me to the mountain that I'm suppressing. Because my mother touched something and you never touch. The cardinal rule is don't touch.
Don't
you put it in
Got it.
Oh my god.
Putting that in my notes. Do not touch.
Just don't. So I probably killed them, and I'm probably, you know what? Nia, you're not gonna die alone. Boom. Drop. Anyways, I didn't actually say that in character.
What's a microphone?
I don't know. It's the same sort of metaphor as a ship. You it's a cone that you roll up from very stiffly made paper, and then you speak into it, and then sound reverberates, and it actually amplifies your voice. You learn something new every day.
Anyway.
Anyways, moving on. Okay, so Nia, you're quickly writing a letter to your father to explain that you have run off once again.
Yep. Just like,
yeah. And what are you guys doing? Are you teleporting back to Port Kalam?
Well, Nia's doing that. I am going to collect my stuff, and I'm going to try and very, very, very sneakily go and steal that book that had the teleportation and instant kill spells.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you getting at it? Because there is glass covering it, so you would have to break the glass in order to get in there.
Can I use a combo package of Mage Hand and Dimension Door?
Okay.
Maybe.
I think Dimension Door, it has to be a... Let me just double check the wording on it here. Yes. Okay, so it has to specifically be you, yourself, that teleports. You can bring along objects or bring a willing creature, but you are still the one that is doing the teleporting.
Okay. How big is the glass case? Big enough to fit a person?
No.
Okay.
Big enough to fit 2 books.
I see. Can I... You know what? We're leaving anyways. I'm gonna break the glass. Can I just, like, kind of jab it with my dagger a little bit? Can I try to, like do, like, a square cut in the glass that's big enough to fit the book?
I'll say make a dexterity check.
Okay. And then I can
and
also...
a strength check.
Okay. And then I can also cast Mending. Okay, so dexterity is plus... I don't even know yet. 0. Okay, well, my dexterity's 13 and my strength is 4.
13 and 4. Okay. So yeah, I would say like you kind of figure out how much pressure to apply to the glass, but you're still super worried about exactly like breaking it, like shattering it beyond the point of being able to like do anything with a mending spell on it. So I would say that you are unsuccessful.
Okay. What else do I got? Can I banish the glass? Can I cast banishment on the glass and then unbanish it to come back?
Let me double check the wording on banishment.
Yeah, because banishment displaces something. I don't know if it's like it has to be a creature, but it displaces and then it puts it back right where it was.
Yes, it specifically says one creature that you can see.
Damn it. Ugh!
Good thought, though.
How invested am I in stealing this book? Because I might just magic missile. Can I very control blast magic missile into a very small, like 2 feet or 2 inches wide and like 5 inches high, like square or rectangle?
I'm gonna say that if you like are shooting magic at this, then it's gonna shatter the glass.
Okay. Ugh. Can I just take out a piece of paper and copy it down and figure it out later?
Yep.
Okay,
you can do that. I'm
just gonna do that. Oh my god, I tried so hard.
Yeah, you did. It was a good attempt. I'm gonna say, due to the fact that it is not in a language that you are familiar with, make a performance check to see if you can copy it down exactly.
Okay, because it's at least the alphabet that we know. Because it's like based on.
It's similar, so it's basically like looking at Latin in compared to English.
Oh. I was thinking maybe like French compared to English, not like Latin.
Yeah, it's more comparison. like comparable in that sense.
I see. Okay. 18.
Okay. Yeah, you feel pretty confident that you've got this copied down, like, almost exactly.
Okay.
At least perfectly enough that if you're able to decipher it, that it'll work.
Okay. I am satisfied, and we're moving on. Thank you for indulging all my bullshit.
I'm here for it. I'm like, you know what? If it's something that works, go for it.
I tried so many things.
It was good ideas.
Yeah.
All right.
So I particularly made reference, like, well, no, I just wanted all of them, actually. Instant kill, stunning, and teleport. Yep, we got it.
Okay, sounds good. Farron, Nisha, are there any last things that you want to do before you guys head out?
No, I'm pretty good.
Okay, sounds good. So, Solene. Oh, wait, 1 second. How did you get back to the castle?
Magic? Question
I'm like, wait a second. You guys are at the AOSIM Academy.
Yeah, we were. Can we? I would have known the teleportation space for the castle for sure, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say
Oh,
yeah.
so
So
Celine
you
just did a-
teleported there
yeah.
yourself.
No, I teleported all of us so that we could do our last minute things, and then I snuck away.
Okay. All right. Fair. So we'll retcon that and say that you guys teleported back to the castle because Solene now has her memories back and is able to do so. Yeah.
No, it totally makes sense. I've lived there. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll allow it. Anyways.
Thank you. After all that.
Yeah. After all that, how did you get back to the castle?
That's the best. That's the trailer moment.
Yeah, right there. All right, perfect. So as you guys finish up your last little goodbyes before you guys head off here, there's a different kind of weight that sits on all of your shoulders. And as you all meet up back in the gardens, it's a little bit of a bittersweet moment, knowing that this time you've got a different chance, but not 100% sure if everything you've gone through is enough. But Solene, as you draw out the teleportation sigil for Newport Kalam and finish the incantation, and you guys all step through, that is where we're going to end tonight and move on to the season finale. Thank you so much for tuning in to Campaign Amnesia. And remember, new episodes air every third Sunday of the month at noon. And be sure to check out our other adventures by searching Fayfinders wherever you tune into your podcasts. Until next time.